We have now entered 2025, so it's time to talk about the new movies coming out this year with my top 10 most anticipated films, but let's first get started with 5 honorable mentions. F1 comes from Joseph Kosinski. He did terrific with Top Gun Maverick. Thunderbolts looks like a fun team-up film and it also introduces Sentry. Marty Supreme is a ping-pong biopic starring Timothy Chalamet. The Life of Chuck is Mike Flanagan's newest film that's gotten great reviews. To end off the honorable mentions, we got Michael, which is a biopic about Michael Jackson, who is one of my favorite artists of all time. Coming in at 10 on my most anticipated list, I got 28 Years Later. Surprisingly, I know. I've never seen the other two. I do have them on my list to watch this year before this new one comes out, but I was like, this trailer came out, I did a reaction to it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this trailer is metal as hell. It was a really good trailer, and horror movies usually do good every single year. Usually there's some really bad horror movies from Blumhouse, but from studios like this, Sony usually makes some good ones, A24, but 28 Years Later, it looks really grounded, which I really like. Cillian Murphy's coming back. He was, of course, in the first one. Not sure if he was in the second one, but he's in that one. Aaron Taylor Johnson's going to be playing one of the main guys. Of course, he had his flop with Craven, but he looks really good here. Jodie Comer, which I think is one of the most underrated actresses working today, is going to be in this, and Ray Fiennes is going to be in this too. So you got a really great cast here. Just look at the trailer, man. The feel that the trailer gives you is terrific, and this was shot like with an iPhone 15 or 16, of course with like different attachments and all that, but it's still very impressive that it was shot with an iPhone. I'm just loving the feel of this trailer and the set design. I guess you could call it kind of a zombie movie, but it's more of like an infected movie. Some of those shots are insane. I just think that this will be an epic horror blockbuster theater experience, and it's part one out of like a trilogy. So this you could say it's like a sequel to the last one, but it's its own new trilogy. So that sounds fascinating, and I can't wait. Then we got Sinners, which comes from Ryan Coogler. He's of course known for Black Panther, some of the Creed movies, all that. Michael B. Jordan is joining him again. They're like a dynamic duo now. And this one follows Michael B. Jordan as like who plays twins. And this one, I think, is about like vampires. Like, this is another horror movie on my list, but it's like a vampire movie. Haley Steinfeld's in this too. Loving the cast on this one. And I think that this one, the aspect ratios on this one are kind of interesting because I've been seeing this trailer in IMAX and there's like 3 different aspect ratios that they're going for in this movie. So just from a filmmaking perspective, it's kind of interesting to see how many different cameras they're using, lenses and all that. I really do like the kind of IMAX framing that they're doing here, but it is interesting to see that. I've never really seen an IMAX movie like switch between 3 different aspect ratios like that. It is very interesting. We have, of course, only gotten the teaser trailer so far, which didn't really reveal too much. You hardly really got to see Michael B. Jordan and like the twins. I'm not sure what the story is going to be around that. I think that would be one of the most interesting parts. I'm hearing that Haley Steinfeld will probably be a vampire in this, which would be cool to see her as a villain because we really haven't seen her that way before. What I do like about this trailer is that I don't know what gun he's using, but Michael B. Jordan's using like this Tommy gun at the end. I think that's what it is. But he's like boom, 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 boom. He's like going hard, and I'm like, this guy's crazy. I actually hope they keep like the vampire design out of it because you haven't seen any of the vampires yet. So it's gonna be really interesting. It takes place back in the day, so they're gonna have to fight for their lives with like the most random things. But I'm not so happy we're finally getting another Michael B. Jordan movie. Hopefully get another Creed movie. Who knows? But this looks very good. Coming in 8th place is going to be James Gunn's Superman movie, the first movie of the new DC universe. We all love James Gunn, made maybe my favorite MCU trilogy that we have out here. One of my favorite trilogies of all time. Favorite superhero trilogy with Guardians of the Galaxy. The Suicide Squad movie was terrific. I loved seeing that in theaters. Now he's going to be helming Superman. We haven't had a Superman movie in the longest time. You could say, Batman v Superman, but I'd like to bring it back to Man of Steel, which is like 2015, 2016 or something like that. Now we got David Corenswet playing Superman. We had the first teaser a couple weeks ago. Very impressed with that teaser. I think some of it might look a little too, too out there, too bright. It looks kind of too fantastical at some moments, but I do like how they're going for those bright colors really right in your face. I think David Corenswet's going to do a great job. I love seeing Crypto in the trailers. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is going to be one of my most anticipated people to see in a movie. I think he's going to do great as a villain. He's really good in The Great, which kind of is like a villainous role in some ways. He's kind of like a, a very interesting character there. Isabella Merced plays Hawk Girl. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner with that ridiculous bowl cut. So you got a lot of different heroes in here. And what I like about this one is that it's not an origin story. I kind of been tired of seeing origin stories over and over again of heroes that we've already seen. So that's great. Frank Grillo is going to show up as Rick Flag Sr., just like in Creature Commandos, which is awesome. And, and I've heard that this movie could lead to something else, which I'm wondering if it will, but if it's just a standalone for now, no post-credit scene, I'll be fine with that. Next up, we got Companion, which is like a psychological thriller / horror movie, and this is from the same, I think, writers of Barbarian, which came out a couple years ago. Barbarian was a terrifically scary movie, but that was a great thriller. This one, though, it only has the first trailer out when I'm recording this. That first trailer got me locked in because it doesn't give anything away. I love movies that don't give anything away. I'm wondering, though, it kind of looks like a science fiction film or some sorts with like some AI robots. Like you see the look in their eyes when they're getting killed. It looks very interesting. Sophie Thatcher is the lead actress in this one. Really loving Sophie Thatcher's work, especially with Heretic from last year. I think she's a great actress. You also got Jack Quaid in here. Jack Quaid, of course, from The Boys, excellent. He also has another movie coming out this year that almost made the list, which is Novocaine. Is a person who can just like take all the damage he wants. He doesn't die, doesn't feel pain. Really interesting there. Lucas Gage also in this. You got a great cast in this movie. Kind of a smaller movie, but I've actually seen some early reactions for this one. People were saying it's terrific, brilliant. I'm all in. Give me a new original science fiction movie any day, even if it's bad. I'll go see that movie in theaters. I think that this one's going to be good because just from the trailers, I've been loving it. But it is a very interesting way, and I'm just loving how they're not giving anything away in the trailers. And I love Sophie Thatcher, so I think it's going to be really good. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the Fantastic Four First Steps. We haven't had a trailer yet for this one. Probably won't get one until like the Super Bowl. But I got to put it on the list because this is the first time we're going to be seeing the Fantastic Four in our MCU universe. We've had the other Fantastic Four movies. The first ones, I kind of actually do have fun with those. They're like guilty pleasures. The newest one with Miles Teller, not that good. It's got some really cool effects though. But this one though, you got a stacked cast. You got Ralph Ineson, who plays Galactus. Really interested to see how that will look. Vanessa Kirby, you got Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal. You got a great cast. Evan Moss-Bachrach, Paul Walter Hauser in here, Julia Gardner, John Malkovich. Oh my goodness, this cast is crazy stacked. You got Matt Shakman directing this one. I have hope for this. Matt Shakman, I think he did a terrific job with WandaVision, even though that show kind of ended in the place I wasn't a big fan of. I think that show, for the most part, was really good, especially coming from a creativity standpoint. Fantastic Four, though, we've been seeing some early set photos, some costume designs. The costumes look great. I love the old-fashioned style costumes. I know some people hate it. I love the ones with the turtlenecks. Those are great. It's just going to be interesting to see what these characters look like when they're using their powers. Vanessa Kirby, she's just going to turn invisible. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. I'm really interested to see how that looks. I know with Chris Evans, we had the fire look and like one fire. I hope with Joseph Quinn, I hope it's like kind of the comic accurate, like we get the 2 shades of fire on him. I really hope. Really worried about what the Thing will look like, especially with MCU's today CGI, how they do it. But we'll have to wait and see. And I think this also takes place in a different universe, so it'll be interesting to see how they show up in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, if they will. I hope they do, because they're like the first family of the Marvel Universe, but maybe they get transported enough a different universe and all that. But I'm just hoping that this is finally a great Fantastic Four movie, because we've never had one. The first ones are decent, as I said, but I don't think we had a great one so far. But with this cast, creativity, people around like Matt Shakman, I think that we'll finally have our first great Fantastic Four movie. Coming right in the middle is going to be Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas. Very hyped for this one. I saw the first trailer and I was like, this is crazy. I'm loving it. I love anything in the John Wick universe except the Continental TV show. I wasn't a big fan of that. This is actually going to be directed by Len Wiseman, who I don't think has made really any great movies, but Chad Stahelski also came in and shot some new scenes and action sequences, so that does give me a little bit more hope. I want to put it a little bit higher, but I just don't think, with Len Wiseman behind the scenes, that, might have that much substance. Sure, the action might be great, but if the story's not that great, I don't know if I'll be in it. But Ana de Armas, she proved herself with her action with No Time to Die. I thought she was really great there, stood her own. Keanu Reeves is coming back because it's like a John Wick 3.5. So we're going to see Keanu Reeves just smack everyone around. And people have been saying, oh, he's only in it for a little bit. No, I've actually heard that he's a big, strong supporting character, especially in that last half. So we're going to be seeing him for a decent amount of time. Lance Reddick, of course, I think this is his last role. Rest in peace to him. Norman Reedus, Ian McShane. Norman Reedus is going to be very cool, but this is going to be probably the best action movie of 2025. Coming in fourth place is going to be the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie. A lot of people might think I'm insane for putting this here, but as someone who kind of grew up with the How to Train Your Dragon animated movies, the TV shows on Netflix, first, How to Train Your Dragon is one of my favorite movies of all time. I always think about it, always think about that first flight scene with the score behind it. Such a terrific movie. And, you know, people might say live action remakes suck, but from this first trailer, I think it looks very promising. It looks a little too diluted of color, but that's okay. It's like a Vikings kind of movie with dragons. But what gives me hope is that the same director, Dean DeBlois, actually worked on the How to Train Your Dragon animated films. He was big on those, directed those two, directed the second one and third one, I think. I think he co-directed the first one. But yeah, he's big on those ones. And I'm just very, very excited. You know, I want to get back into this world. If we can't get the animated How to Train Your Dragon 4, I'm fine with getting a live action one. I think the cast looks great. Gerald Butler actually is one of the main people coming back to play who he did in the animated version, which is, you know, Hiccup's dad. Mason Thames, was very impressed with him in the Black Phone. I think he's going to make a great Hiccup. Nico Parker also looks great. Loving the costumes on this movie. The set design costumes look like they went all out, and I think the dragons look great. That was the thing I was the most worried about, was the look of the dragons, the look of Toothless, and I think he looks great. It looks like he just jumped from the animated version right into the live action version. You know, I am interested if they're going to do the second one and third one. I hope they do, but this one has to be a success, but it probably has a huge budget. I'd love to see, you know, that romance between Astrid and Hiccup just blossom through the movies. I loved how they did in the animated ones. And, you know, I'm really excited to see that first flight sequence in live action. Live action can make seeing things more immersive, so I'm very interested to see that. I just have a lot of hope for this one. Now on to the real deal, which is our top three. Three being Mickey 17, come from Bong Joon-ho. This one has been through the ringer of release dates. It's supposed to come out last March. This year, this January, now it's coming out March, or actually April. Sorry about that. I think it got moved from March to April. It finally coming out April. This is a science fiction movie based on the book Mickey 7. Bong Joon-ho called it Mickey 17 because he wanted to kill Mickey 10 more times. That's right, 10 more times. Bong Joon-ho, man, he's coming off Parasite, Best Picture winner, Best Director winner. I'm very interested to see how he, you know, comes up with this movie, how it gets perceived. Because I just fell in love with this trailer, man. Robert Pattinson is going for a wicked voice. I mean, I was like, is that really his voice in the trailer? And it is. He's playing Mickey, Naomi Ackie's in this, Stephen Yeun, Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette, lots more people in this. This is a fantastic, fantastic cast. And this is, if you haven't read the book is pretty good. Not amazing, but it is pretty good. I haven't read the sequels, but the book features Mickey 7, who is Mickey, and then he basically goes on missions for these people, for the government, and he's like an expendable. So if he dies, they basically, you know, recreate him as a new number. So if Mickey 6 died, Mickey 7 is going to get recreated, and that's Mickey 7. But I think that, you know, this one is going to be funnier because he dies 10 more times. So this is like a sci-fi adventure comedy. It's going to be really fun. The trailer is really funny. Loving the set design. I love science fiction movies. As I said, my favorite genre. This one looks totally up my league. I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be like a 5 out of 5 for me. I'm loving the trailer. Probably get a new trailer pretty soon, but I think I'm going to stay away from that. I'm so ready for this movie. It was close, but number 2 is going to be Avatar: Fire and Ash, the third movie in the Avatar series from James Cameron. Crazy, man. Finally getting Avatar 3 this year in December. Hopefully it doesn't get moved. I don't think it will. Just VFX work needs to be done. And then we still have 2 more to go after this one. A long time. I don't think Avatar 5 comes out until 2031 or something like that. It's gonna be a long, long time. But you know, this is it's just one of those movies. It's a theatrical event. I remember Avatar 2 was supposed to come out and everyone said, oh, it's not gonna make $1 billion, not gonna make $2 billion. No one's gonna see it. No one cares. And guess what? Avatar 2 made $2 billion, made over $2 billion. People care. This is what people go to the movies for, an event. And this is an event. James Cameron transports you to, you know, this different world with the Na'vi. It is such a beautiful film. I mean, you can say Avatar 2 is like a recycled story. Maybe you don't care about the characters, but you just can't say that the visuals don't impress you. They are so impressive. Avatar is the only movie that I'll go to in 3D. It's the only movie worth going to in 3D because James Cameron, he does something with it. I don't know what he does. He puts crack in the movie, but it is such an amazing movie. Avatar 1, I wasn't a big fan of when I first saw it, on my TV, but then I saw the 4K re-release in IMAX before Avatar 2, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a 9 out of 10. And then I saw Avatar 2 and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. That was my first time seeing an Avatar movie in IMAX for the first watch. And it was just beautiful. I saw Avatar 2, I think 5 times on IMAX. What a film, man. And the cliffhanger it left us on, I'm really interested to see what, our thoughts will be like in 10 years when all 5 are out. Like, where will this movie franchise go? The Earth, maybe? I don't know. You got the Fire Clan in this one. Really interested to see how that works. People say it copies Avatar The Last Airbender, but hey, I'll let them pass if it looks beautiful. But that's going to be really cool. See how the Fire Clan works. See if they're kind of like the enemies in this one. Korra just like secondary enemy. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully James Cameron doesn't die by the time Avatar 5 comes out, because I wanted to finish this journey. But Avatar 3, it's going to be visually stunning. We already know that. Coming in first place, though, as my most anticipated film of this year is going to be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise, man. One of my favorite actors. I think he's my second favorite actor. He just impresses, man. Every time he's on screen. The Mission Impossible trailer, it's beautiful, man. It's so beautiful. Hardly any dialogue in there, and it's just music, and you feel like you're back at the movies, just like Avatar. This is a real theatrical experience. Suck that Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I guess isn't called Part 1 anymore, kind of failed, but it was like a week before Barbenheimer, but I cannot wait. This is like the last movie, I think, The Final Reckoning. You could say it's the last. Maybe they'll do spin-offs, but I'm so excited. Christopher McQuarrie is returning to this one. He's carried the franchise to huge heights. Him and Tom Cruise do a great job. You got Haley Atwell returning, Vanessa Kirby, Pom Klementieff, who's returning as Paris, as like a good person this time. So excited to see her character with the main group. Of course, I have Issa Morales, Hannah Waddingham's joining the team. Ving Rhames coming back. A lot of people coming back for this one. Simon Pegg. I'm really interested to see how they end it, though. Will Tom Cruise die? I'm not sure. It would be really sad, but a nice end off after 8 movies, because he is getting really up there to be doing these action movies. Just look at the stunt that they're doing for this one. The plane stunt. He's like trying to catch the plane, then he's trying to hop from one plane to another. I'm like, this man deserves an Oscar for this stuff. But I really do hope maybe after this one he does go back to those dramatic roles like Eyes Wide Shut, Jerry Maguire. He was so good in those roles. He got nominated for an Oscar for Jerry Maguire too. Should have won, but I know, can't do anything about it, but he was terrific there. Mission Impossible movies are just the best action movies today in my eyes. Just like John Wick. If John Wick was still going, maybe we'll get John Wick 5, but I love Dead Reckoning Part 1. I saw it 6 times in theaters. Fallout, though, is still my favorite one, but maybe Final Reckoning will take that down. It just depends, but the action sequences look insane. Going to, like, the Sahara, I don't even know what we're doing there. We got a lot of different moving parts in this movie. I know a lot of people were mad at Rebecca Ferguson dying. Maybe she isn't dead. Maybe she is, but, it's fine. We're still progressing. People dying, almost everyone, so I'm fine with that. But I'm so excited that Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is finally coming out this year. My most anticipated movie of the year. That's my most anticipated films of 2025. Leave yours down below in the comments. Love to discuss it with you. If you enjoyed my video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I post like 3 times a week, so go look at some other content. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.